Sometimes the strangest things are hiding where you least expect them, and today we're going to prove it. You're about to see discoveries that are hard to explain, but impossible to forget. So, ready to see something beyond the ordinary? The last thing a farmer would expect to find in his field is the charred wreckage of a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft that fell from orbit. One look is all it takes to know that this is more than just an unusual find. This is a veritable Cold War-era graveyard packed with hundreds of combat helicopters. Apparently, yes, because this real Batmobile abandoned right in the middle of a street in Dubai is even more impressive. If finding a stick that looks like a sword is a treasure for males of any age, then just imagine how this guy feels after finding an actual sword. Let's take a look inside this secret tank graveyard in Eritrea filled with Western and Soviet tanks, armored personnel carriers, anti-aircraft guns, and military trucks left behind after the 30-year war for independence. I guarantee that after this clip, you won't be able to walk past an abandoned vending machine without stopping.
Holy crap! So I'm gonna guess 50, what do you guess?
Either these people were filming an apocalypse movie here, or they stumbled upon a once-in-a-million kind of location. This isn't just a discovery, it's a piece of history that waited for decades for its moment, only to end up right beneath your feet. Ever wondered what it feels like to find a real treasure chest? Then watch closely. This bunker was built to protect soldiers from bombs, but later, in a twist of fate, it was hidden from human eyes for decades, right up until this moment. Fossil hunting can be incredibly successful if you do it in the right place. For example, somewhere a megalodon lost its teeth 10 million years ago.
That's really big for
Finding this non-portable award from a German bombing squadron is so rare that any collector watching this video will feel their palms start to sweat. Check this out. At an abandoned steel plant in Belgium, someone discovered this massive structure that instantly brings Transformers to mind.
I am Optimus Prime. We are waiting.
Take a look at this find that lay deep underground for thousands of years. Its shape and clarity make it look like it was made by humans, not nature. Who knows? Maybe it even saw the dinosaurs. This guy managed to get up close to a French World War II tank, the Panhard EBR, which had almost completely blended into the landscape of a field in Normandy after 80 years. Believe it or not, but even a giant 406mm Adolf gun, weighing 160 tons and capable of firing up to 56 kilometers, can be forgotten and rediscovered decades later. It looks like whatever was found here was meant to remain a secret, but this treasure hunter managed to pick up a signal with his metal detector. A few minutes of digging, and something appears that was clearly hidden on purpose, with the expectation that no one would ever find it. This guy clearly hasn't watched enough horror movies to think twice before climbing into an abandoned mine he just found. Did you know people like this can easily gain millions of followers just by posting videos of treasure hunting in rivers and on benches? It's hard to know what to expect when walking into an abandoned church, but definitely not figures frozen in prayer. Be honest, what year would you travel to if you came across a discovery like this? This discovery had been waiting here for decades until a cameraman stumbled upon a pair of abandoned Boeing 747s in the middle of nowhere. Try to imagine the shock of someone stumbling upon this fully abandoned eye, watching over the sea from an otherwise unremarkable beach. The story behind this discovery began in the middle of World War II, when military amphibious trucks were widely used by Allied forces, only to be stored away for the future. A future that never came. No, this isn't a parking lot for MG car enthusiasts. It's the factory where they were built and where they were abandoned forever. Do you think you would just take one for yourself here? How do you hide a military bunker and make it nearly indestructible at the same time? Simple. Carve it directly into the rock. How did no one think of that earlier? Buying a car shipped from overseas comes with its own risks, because the next time you see it might be in a video posted by some diver. Right now, you're looking at something that was never meant to be found, and yet, here it is. An entire graveyard of machinery, forgotten after the war and left to rust in the open air. No one expected to find a whale graveyard out in the open instead of on the ocean floor, but one day the water receded, exposing their remains and turning this place into a truly surreal landscape. An ordinary day turned into a historical one when this cave, filled with dozens of Buddhist statues, was uncovered. 99% of the time, all you'll ever find inside an abandoned garage is piles of dust. But if you hit that 1%, you're in for a jackpot. The mountains of Nepal are one of the most remote places on the planet, yet someone there managed to build a high-tech pyramid-shaped house equipped with solar panels. A hurricane literally washed away the sand on a Florida beach, revealing a real historical artifact: the remains of a 19th century wooden ship that had been lying here for over 100 years. Could anything be more amazing than finding a specialized Bombardier BR-160 snow tractor that spent nearly 30 years buried in a frozen swamp? We're used to seeing great presidents on currency, but this guy got lucky enough to meet them face to face. Within these abandoned candy machines lies a treasure that every child has dreamed of. Too bad it expired 20 years ago. They say that during World War II, deep in Belgium, behind these massive gates and a kilometer-long tunnel, lay a submarine. So when this man managed to find the entrance, he got the chance to discover whether it was a real military shelter or just a beautiful legend. Apparently, claustrophobia wasn't a thing until after World War II, because I can't imagine why sailors would willingly agree to squeeze into this beaver mini-submarine back in 1944. And this one clearly hasn't played enough Resident Evil. You're looking at a stone that these people thought was a UFO when they found it. The more I look at its perfect geometry, the more I'm starting to think the same thing. Take a look at how nature can turn an abandoned ship into an ecological work of art. In the forests of Rhode Island, alone among the swamps, lies a landmark that had been sitting there for 40 years. It's not easy to find, but take a look. The search is worth it. After seeing this discovery, I'm seriously beginning to wonder whether I should even turn the lights off at night. What could be hidden inside an abandoned hangar? Most of the time, nothing interesting, but sometimes you can find traces of a bygone era of space exploration, like this rocket that was meant to launch military satellites into orbit. Right before your eyes is the dismantling of the Grafton, a ship that lived through more than 100 years of history, sailed the seas, harvested pearls, and even served during World War II, and is now slowly turning into wreckage. Exploring a body of water in an abandoned amusement park in Massachusetts is enough to give your heart palpitations, because the chances of running into the sunken robotic whale here are actually pretty high. This igloo, originally planned as a hotel in the 1970s, was never completed due to building code violations, and after decades of neglect, it has deteriorated to the point where restoration no longer makes sense. You'll never fully realize just how many treasures are lying right under your feet until you pick up a metal detector. The Barents Sea is full of impressive finds, but the remains of a sunken cruiser called Murmansk are among the most memorable. Finding an abandoned train deep in the forests of South Georgia sounds like fiction, but it really exists. This project was once meant to symbolize the future of transportation, yet it still sits forgotten among the trees. It's hard to believe, but an abandoned 1990s VHS video store can be even creepier than that military tunnel. Finding a World War II tank outside of a museum is almost like stumbling upon real treasure. This is an F-104 DJ, and in the 1960s it cost up to $1.5 million per unit. Today, its true value lies in the emotions you feel when you find it at an abandoned site. When you walk into an abandoned garage, you expect to see nothing more than some old tires, not a hidden robot. By the way, this isn't the only one that's been found around the world. It just managed to hide better than the others. Now imagine being the researcher who had just discovered the Giannis D shipwreck in the Red Sea. At first glance, this is just an ordinary river. Nothing special, right? But look closer, and you may notice a submerged tractor. This is the Centurion, a legendary pearl boat now quietly resting at the bottom of Dixon Bay in Port Douglas. A walk along the beach with a metal detector might end with a handful of coins and scrap metal, or something unexpected might emerge from the sand, like antique musical instruments, two brass horns that may have been lying there for decades or even centuries. On one of the islands in the Barents Sea, you could get stranded for a week, and that's exactly how long it would take you to fully explore all the abandoned equipment there. But you should always be careful with chests you find, because something like this could be inside. Fortunately, these rounds don't pose a threat anymore. Now let this man give you a tour of a 1954 Ventura loft liner, a long abandoned two-story motorhome discovered by chance.
That's kind of why these are worth saving, you know. Materials are up.
This is the largest ship graveyard in the United Kingdom, located along the River Severn, but the most interesting part is that most of these vessels were deliberately abandoned here in the 1950s to reinforce the shoreline. It's not uncommon to find jewelry on the beach, but discovering a whole box of it is something truly remarkable. You have to admit that salvaging a sunken submarine and bringing it back to the surface is one of the rarest sights you can witness. The chances of randomly stumbling upon an abandoned Yugoslavian Navy base built for repairing and servicing submarines are extremely slim, but never zero. It's time to discover that the paradise inside of Hawaii has more to discover than just incredible nature. This abandoned coal-loading tower from the 1920s is all that remains of the region's mining industry, now transformed into an impressive architectural landscape with over a century of history. Ever wondered what your great-great-grandfather's garage looked like? Then check out this hangar filled with carriages from the late 19th century. This expedition to Apple Valley culminated in the discovery and exploration of an abandoned dinosaur theme park, a place that looked more like a graveyard of prehistoric giants than an entertainment venue of the past. In this abandoned early 20th century school, the students are still sitting at their desks. But you probably wouldn't want to see them in real life. These eerie mannequins, frozen mid-lesson, turn an ordinary classroom into a place you'd want to leave as quickly as possible, because they suddenly turn their heads and notice you. Among the overgrown tracks in New Hope, you can find a giant built in 1946 for the railways in Mexico, which, after being decommissioned in 1966, was moved here in hopes of restoration. But that never happened. Have you ever wondered where abandoned cars really end up after being towed to an import lot? If no one ever comes back for them? There are plenty of impressive things to find, but I guarantee nothing compares to the feeling of discovering a sealed clay chest filled with church treasures over 100 years old. And if you ever manage to find a place like this, you'd better have rubber gloves and a respirator in your trunk. Or, ideally, a full hazmat suit for safe exploration. Looking for some unusual findings? Well, you'd better think twice before peeking into the windows of abandoned buildings. Check out this forgotten temple full of Buddhist statues. And then picture all of them turning their heads towards the camera. Welcome to the creepiest and most disturbing abandoned hospital on the entire internet. Ever wondered how you can change your life in just a few minutes? All you have to do is find some ancient jars like these, or rather, what was stored inside them for hundreds of years. You won't believe what this woman found out in the forest. A ticket to a comfortable, early retirement. Admit it, after watching videos like this, you just want to grab a shovel and a pickaxe and head straight to the nearest forest. This is the kind of unbelievable place you can find if you take one of the longest hiking routes in Cape Town. What do you think of this interpretation of the Statue of Liberty? It's hard to find a more fitting place for a memorial made from an abandoned airplane than this cliff by the river. We haven't found the garment factory yet today. Just step into this abandoned house in Belgium, and the story of an entire family comes to life before your eyes, frozen in time. It's hard to imagine why all of this was left behind, but it seems the owners simply walked away one day and never returned. The only thing that could make a cocktail bus any cooler is if it ages this beautifully after being abandoned. This lonely phone booth seems to be waiting for a call from the other side. What would you do if you found a mobile radio station like this sitting in the middle of a green field? These baskets used to be part of a carousel, but now they've turned into stationary gazebos where no one is likely to sit anymore. Check out what this guy found in a cave. Drop your guesses in the comments about what might have happened here and how so many cars ended up in this place. After years of abandonment, this old spinning mill hasn't lost any of its charm. You'd better not wander into this workshop at dusk, or you might catch a glimpse of ghastly faces in the furnaces. This abandoned winter garden is the best proof that urban exploration can reveal a whole new side of even a well-known city. This abandoned memorial to honor the events and victims of World War II has been gradually falling into ruin since the early 1990s, when it was left to nature's mercy as it slowly reclaims this place. Take a look at this unique site. Do you think this is an abandoned factory where they were produced? Looking at this hangar with 2 elephants will leave you with more questions than I have answers, so just enjoy their beauty. Even 80 years after the Allied landings in Normandy, you can still find relics like this one on the local beaches. You never truly know how fast you can run until you come face to face with these creepy dolls in the dark. Take a look at this swamp. Not exactly the kind of place you'd expect to find a legendary German submarine like the UB-122. Don't show this to cycling enthusiasts. You don't want to give them a heart attack.
It might be time to believe in alien life, because right now, something appears to be flying from space toward a secret American base. It looks like they were planning to test the craft, but once they noticed surveillance, they quickly moved it. How strange. Most urban explorers find broken furniture and graffiti, but these people found a 60-meter Energia M rocket just sitting there waiting to be discovered. After rain in the UAE, you can sometimes find expensive luxury cars buried in the sand. Just a little fun fact for the future. Hey guys, help me out. This video's author claims the metal object is a spaceship, but I'm not convinced. Tell me what you think in the comments. You wouldn't think so at first glance, but this ship repair yard was once one of the most prosperous in the USSR. It's a place where giant passenger ships spent winters and cargo barges were repaired. But the collapse of the Soviet economy turned the former pride of the river fleet into rusted statues slowly sinking into the earth. Costa Rica is scattered with mysterious stone spheres. Some say prehistoric giants played soccer with them, but that theory is lacking evidence so far. This guy trusted his metal detector so much that he even hired an excavator to dig up whatever was down there. And let's just say it paid off way more than he expected. Apparently, there lived a very unlucky soldier during World War II. Not only was he given a motorcycle instead of an armored vehicle, it got stuck in a swamp until the next century. High in the Alps, carved right into the rock, someone found a door. Honestly, it'd be better if it led to Erebor instead of a secret military base with a cannon ready to fire. This Curtiss P-40L Warhawk spent 54 years underwater, yet it hasn't lost its former grandeur. For a moment, I thought this was a real cave filled with kryptonite. It turns out it's just an abandoned glass factory, which is still pretty awesome. If Albanian rebels hadn't stormed the area in 1997, no one might have ever discovered the secret Jader Air Base. It consists of 600 meters of tunnels and has become a graveyard for dozens of fighter jets from the communist era. In June 1942, a British P-40 Kitty Hawk disappeared without a trace over the western desert of Egypt. Its discovery decades later in such good condition is nothing short of a miracle. He searched that cave for months with a metal detector while everyone laughed at him, until he uncovered stacks of gold bars. Judging by his outfit, this Sudanese boy wasn't out looking for treasure, yet somehow he spotted what nobody else noticed: gold ore hiding in plain sight. An urban explorer nearly called Area 51 security when he found strange capsules with cars inside, but it was soon revealed to be a hangar belonging to a collector in Detroit. More than 70 rare vehicles are stored there, including a Cadillac wagon, one of only 2 in the world, the first closed-cab Cadillac Acola, a Ford Cobra, a Ford Cougar II, and many other automotive rarities.
That's all for today. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment on which find was the most surprising to you. See you next time.